Today we are reviewing a movie, A Box of Faith. The movie starts with Tim and his daughter Dior moving in a car. They didn't have much left. Tim had lost his wife, Dior's mom, and all he had was Dior. Dior did hang onto a lot of memories from her mom, including a picture of her mom when she was fighting for her life before her death. On the picture, her mom had left her a message. Whenever Dior would feel alone or think of her mom, she would read the message again and again. While on the road, Tim parked at the gas station and picked some eats. They were running out of cash real quick and could no longer afford staying in their home. The food came with a lottery ticket. Tim gave it to her daughter to scratch and see if she wins. And she won another free meal. Already the free meal they were having was from a lottery ticket. This made them both so happy. They drove to their storage unit fast. Here they had all their belongings. Since they moved out of their home, they packed everything they owned and placed it into this storage. Tim was looking for something he could sell to get some money for them to continue with life. But a lot of the things in the storage were not of much value. They checked the different boxes, picked out a few things that they might need while on the road. Among the things they checked was a box. This box had a crystal mold of a butterfly. Dior was checking out this butterfly. Tim asked Dior to take it because her mom would love her to have it. Then Tim went on ahead to pick one of his old watches, then headed to the pawn shop to see if he can collect some money from that watch. When he reached the pawn shop, the shop guy decided to rip him off, but he was at the wall and he needed the money. Dior nodded at him to accept the $50, which the pawn guy was offering as the final price. They checked into a motel. Tim had some debts to clear up, but money was really tight. They were sharing one small room at the motel. When Tim got calls from people he owed money, he tried to move away so that his daughter does not get to hear the struggles he's going through. Dior went at the door and could eavesdrop what Tim was talking and the stress he was facing in regards to the money and the lack of it. But before his father could catch her, Dior ran back to the bed and pretended to be sleeping. Tim came and sat next to her daughter and then glanced on the side of her daughter. She saw a note. To it was written, "Read this, Dad." He reached out to check it out to see that the note was pointing at a Bible scripture. So Tim read it out loud. "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you, not as the world gives, do I give to you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid." After reading it loud, Tim breathed a sigh of relief and smiled. Dior also smiled because she was not sleeping, she was hearing him. The next day, Tim was at work and got a promotion. So while he was working, Terry went to the locker room and placed a stolen tool into the lunchbox of Tim. When Tim came into the locker room to change to go home, as they were walking out to be checked before they leave the company, they would check all their lunchboxes and their luggage to make sure nobody's leaving with anything that belongs to the company. While in line, Terry behind Tim is checked, and to open the lunchbox, the tool is found. Tim got reported to the boss and the case got complicated from there. Tim tried to explain to them that he did not do this. He does not know who is setting him up. Somebody must have placed this here, but the boss was not taking any of it. The boss was ready to make an example of Tim, of what happens to anybody who steals from the company. He was thrown in jail. At school, Dior waits for her father to come pick her up, but she could not see her father and it was getting late. So she decided to find a way to get home. When she reached home, she checked everywhere. She couldn't see any sign of her father. It was getting really late and it was getting dark, but still her father was not yet back home. The next morning, the social worker came to the motel. The social worker had an assignment to find a home for Dior. While Dior was inside, Dior had arguments outside the motel. So without letting herself be seen, she peeped to see what was happening. Then she saw the social worker, Miss Ward, arguing with the motel manager, asking the motel manager to open the motel so she can see and check if the girl is there. Miss Ward checked the whole room, but she could not find anything. She left. After they left, Dior knew things are not looking good. She packed everything she could pack quickly. She packed everything in a black bag, picked her school bag, but also picked the keys for their storage and left in a hurry. She started roaming the streets looking for a place for shelter. After walking for hours, resting and walking again, she prayed and promised to be a warrior for God if God helps her through this experience. Finally, she found a tunnel where she did lay her black bag, then decided to go find something to eat. At the office, Miss Ward received a call from the motel manager. The motel manager had no news of the girl. He informed her that the girl never returned home. Miss Ward, while staring at the paperwork, decided to hit the streets and try looking for Dior by herself. Dior cashed out her coupon for a free meal, and the meal came with another lottery card, and she scratched it, and she won again, another free meal. The whole day, Miss Dior kept looking all over the streets for Dior, but she could not see any trace of Dior. While she was looking, she got a call from one of her colleagues, Steve, the state attorney for Tim. Steve had updates about Tim's case. Tim had been convicted, so the bail was set for $25,000. This was a lot of money given that Tim did not even have any relatives who will bail him out. While Miss Ward was talking on phone, Dior passed by in front of her car, but she did not see her because she was looking down. Dior headed back where she left her black bag, only to find the place empty without her bag. Then she saw a beggar far off walking away with her bag. She ran after the beggar, but the beggar seemed to walk faster than she could run. After walking through different corners, tunnels of the streets, chasing after the beggar, she got exhausted and it was getting dark. She decided to take shelter at the tunnel where she had reached. She laid down on rocks and used her backpack as a pillow. When morning came, she woke up when the stones were her pillow. The beggar had picked her backpack from underneath her head, and right in front of her, the beggar had removed the bird crystal from her bag, and he was trying to remove more things. Dior asked the beggar to give her back the crystal because it belonged to her mom and it was special. The beggar slowly handed it over to Dior. Then Dior asked the beggar, "Do you really love this thing?" And the beggar nodded in agreement. Dior handed it back to the beggar, and the beggar reached out in his pocket and picked some money and handed it over to Dior. Then he reached up and picked the black bag, which had Dior's belongings, and handed it also to Dior. Dior was happy to receive her things back. She was getting ready to get some new clothes from her black bag. She opened the black bag only to find none of her belongings were in the bag. Instead, the bag had a collection of garbage. She still had the key to their storage unit. Miss Ward drove again to the motel to see if she could find any information about Dior. She looked around but couldn't find much. Then she noticed the bag that she had seen previously was no longer there, and the shoes. She asked the motel manager if anybody has been to this room. The motel manager informed her that nobody. Then she knew that it must have been Dior. As Miss Ward kept looking around, she saw a picture of Dior's mom while she was in the hospital dropped on the floor, so she reached out and picked it up. Then she turned at the back side to see the writings that her mom had left, and the writings read, "Dior, you will always be my baby girl. I'm so proud of you and how you are able to inspire everyone around you. Keep up the great work. Be strong. Love, Mom." Miss Ward read the letter emotionally. Miss Ward then drove off again to keep searching for Dior on the different streets. Then while she was searching, she spotted Dior walking off down the bridge. She tried to follow her, but she couldn't see her anymore. She had taken a bus. Dior headed to the storage unit, making sure no one is following her. She opened their storage unit, entered inside. She created a living space, opened one of the mattresses and laid it down, and did set up a few things from their packages that could help her conducively live in this space. After having some rest, she decided to catch up on books. She had the noise from a motorcycle outside the storage, as if someone was looking around. She went to the door but didn't open the door. She started to pray. The person on the other side started to bang the storage door. At home, Miss Ward couldn't stop thinking about Dior's case. She kept staring at her file, wondering where she could find her. At the storage, Dior gets out a box. The box had some sticky papers and a pen. She got one paper and wrote a letter to God, thanking him for the home she has and praying to patiently wait for her father's return as she stays here. After she placed the note at the roof of the storage where she stayed, she slept off. The next morning, when she woke up, she raised her eyes to see where she had placed the paper, and it was gone. She looked around to see if the paper had dropped on the floor, but it wasn't there. That morning, Miss Ward went out again to look for Dior. This time, she parked somewhere and waited. She kept working on a puzzle which was puzzling her as she waited to see if Dior will come out. Exhausted, she dozed off. Somewhere in the tree, Dior was watching her too. She remembered her outside talking to the motel manager, so she knew that this lady was following her. She waited for some time. When Miss Ward slept off, she went to her car and left her a note asking her to stop following her, and also added that God is taking care of her, that she's fine. Then Dior also spotted the puzzle that Miss Ward was working on. She got it and filled it up. After she left, a car horned real hard and woke Miss Ward up. She saw the note. She got it and read it. She looked around to see if she could spot Dior, but she could not. She looked around to see if she could spot Dior, but she could not. Then she picked up her puzzle, only to find it fully done. She smiled. Meanwhile, Dior was already back in the tree, watching Miss Ward. Miss Ward decides to write back and let Dior know that she means no harm. She only wants to put her in a safe place. She also thanked her for filling her crossword puzzle. Then she placed the note in an envelope along with some money. She placed the envelope on the car. She got out, got someplace far off to sit and see if Dior would come out to pick the note. She waited and waited, but no one came. Then she called her work colleague Ray to come pick her up. Making sure no one is seeing her, Dior headed back to the storage unit, got out her sandwich, but before she could eat it, she heard persisting scratching at the door. She tried to ignore it and eat her sandwich, but it was persistent, so she decided to first go check it out. She opened the door a little bit, and a dog squeezed itself inside. The dog had a name on its collar, Fat. Now Dior had a new roommate. Dior wrote a thank you note to God and placed it at the roof of the storage, then went to bed. The next morning, she climbed up to check where the paper could have gone, but she couldn't trace it up. There was nothing there. Miss Ward was picked up by her colleague in the morning. She wanted to be where she left her car very early in the morning so she could be able to see when Dior comes to pick the letter she had left at the car. While they were walking, Dior realized that Fat was not going to be able to keep up with her, so she went back to the storage and got Fat a stroller among their things. Dior went back at the spot where she was yesterday when she was seeing Miss Ward's car. She saw that the car was still there, but there was a letter on the car. So she went and picked up the letter from the car before anyone could see her. By the time Miss Ward arrived, she had already picked the letter. As time went on, they kept exchanging notes just like that. Miss Ward was not able to meet up with Dior, but every time she would leave a note and wait to see Dior pick it, she would never see Dior pick it. But when she would leave it behind and move away, Dior would pick it. They exchanged information like that. Miss Ward wanted to help her, but she was not willing to go to a foster home. Miss Ward informed her that she knows the pain she's going through because she herself lost a mother at an early age and she had to go through some pain, so she understands and she wouldn't want her to suffer the pain. Dior informed her in the letters that she does not want to be taken anywhere. She's just going to continue living the way she's doing until her father comes and they go back home. Miss Ward on this had to inform her that her father was taken to jail and it's going to be a very long time before her father ever comes back. When Dior was reading this letter about the situation of her father, she got heartbroken and the letter slid in her hands and fell on the floor. After that, Dior decided to meet up with Miss Ward, but she did it in such a way that Miss Ward cannot reach her. There was a valley of water in between them, and for Miss Ward to reach her, Miss Ward had to go towards the very end of the valley to turn to come where she was, and by the time she would have reached, Dior would have left. So Miss Ward had no choice but to talk to her without meeting her. So they stood across each other, and Miss Ward communicated, trying to let her know that she wants to help her. Dior informed her that she does not need her help, that she's fine and she's well taken care of. She also thanked her for the money, but also informed her she does not need her money because God is taking care of her. After she walked off, went to a storage, told Fat that now they have to make this life work. She decided she has to get something to do to figure out how to survive in this situation for this time being that she's here. Miss Ward knew that this girl was so smart. She was not going to find her. She went to visit her father in jail to see if he could have any information about Dior's whereabouts and how she can be able to find her and give her the help that she needs. Her father informed Miss Ward that Dior is a very smart girl and she's very resourceful. No one is going to find her unless she wants to be found. Emma, another girl who ran away from home and now living on the street, came and started conversation with Dior. Emma has been watching Dior from afar, and Emma has also been seeing this woman who has been chasing after Dior. So Emma strikes a friendship with Dior, but Emma was very hungry. When Dior saw how hungry Emma looked, Dior shared her food with Emma and also gave her the water she had prepared for herself. And the girls had some conversation, and Dior invited Emma to come and live with her instead of staying under the bridge where she was staying. She can come and stay with her where she's staying until she figures things out. Emma was happy about this. Dior gave Emma one condition, that she has to stay behind every day for some hours to catch up on their schoolwork. To this, Emma agreed. The two girls went to start staying together. While having supper, Emma shares how she got on the streets. She ran away from home because she didn't like her new stepdad after her father walked away from her mom and her mom got a new man. Emma asks Dior her story. Dior shares of how his dad got into trouble and how she lost her mom and how she didn't want to go to a foster home and they can't catch her. She also shared about a woman who's looking for her and trying to help her. As the girls conversed more and more that night, Dior told Emma about this box she found in her mom's things. She told her you can write what you want to say to God, put it on the ceiling, and then it will all work out. She asked her to try it. They both wrote what they wanted to tell God. Emma asked for new shoes. Dior thanked God for a new friend. Emma told Dior, why didn't you ask for anything? Dior informed her that sometimes you just want to say thank you. They both wrote their prayers to God after they placed the notes on the ceiling. In the morning, Emma's note was still there, but Dior's note was gone. The next morning, as they were doing their schoolwork in the morning, Emma decided she does not want to be doing this work anymore. She decided she does not want to be doing schoolwork. Dior reminded her that this was the agreement. Emma told Dior, if I don't follow your rules, then what? Are you going to throw me out? Emma told her, if you don't want to follow the rules, yes, you can walk out. You can go and live wherever you want. Then, before Emma could leave, she spotted money under Dior's bed. So she decided to stay and told Dior that she's going to be doing her work. She continued to do her work. After that, Dior asked her if she wants to go with her and Fat for a walk. Emma declined and chose to stay back. While taking a walk, Dior found this lady who was selling off some of her items because she had a lot of stuff and she wanted some of it gone. Among the things she was selling was a watch, an antique, a watch from long ago, World War II, which her husband participated in and bought the watch at the time. Dior asked her how much she sells the watch. She told her she was selling it for $250, but she can give it to her for free. Dior insisted that she does not want to take it for free. Then the lady told her, in that case, pay me $1. So she paid $1 and took the watch. But the lady told her it no longer works, but it's an antique. Emma took the watch, took some time, and finally she was able to fix the watch. She was so excited and she wanted to tell Fat about it. Fat had walked off. She started walking around looking for Fat, but she could not see Fat anywhere. Miss Ward went back and wrote another letter and left it at the car and sat far off and waited. Emma came and picked up that letter and started running off. By the time Miss Ward saw that it was not Dior picking the letter, Emma had ran off. She ran off and went somewhere where no one is seeing, and she opened the envelope. She threw away the letter, picked the $50, and she walked off. Then she came and found Dior seated on the bench. She told Emma about how she has lost Fat and how it happened. She told her of the watch she got and the watch she was fixing, and by the time she was done, Fat was gone. Emma asked Dior what the worth of the watch is. Dior told her, we can go and find out. So the two girls walked to the pawn shop. Reaching the pawn shop, the guy kept examining the watch over and over again and asking questions about it just to make sure they didn't steal it. Emma explained that she fixed the watch. After some bargaining, Dior was able to make a good bargain for the watch, and the pawn shop guy gave her $2,500 for the sale. As they walked out, Emma asks Dior how she knew the worth of the watch and that history about the watch that he gave the guy. Emma informed her that it's just simple math, and about the history, she had read all about it in books. They went to look for Fat. In the office, Miss Ward did some research about the girl who took her envelope that she had intended to give to Dior. And she found out information about Emma, and they found that she is a runaway child. She has run away from home 3 times because she doesn't like authority. As they continued to talk about work, Miss Ward informed Ray that she believes Tim is innocent. Ray informed her that she's getting too invested in this case. At Tim's work, his manager planted a camera in the locker room because many things were getting weird day by day. And then one day, another employee was caught stealing at the checkpoint, the same way Tim was caught. But this time round, cameras were already in the locker room. So the manager went and checked the footage. And what he saw, he decided to take it to the boss. When the boss watched the footage along with the manager, they saw Terry. Now Terry had set up another colleague. He wanted his position too. At the storage, Dior writes a prayer to God asking for her dad to come back. Emma asked her why she had never prayed that kind of prayer before, and Dior informed her that she does not normally question God, but enough is enough. She wants her dad back. At the construction, Terry is called into the office by the boss. Then he's shown the evidence, video coverage showing him setting up his workments. Terry was sent to jail, and it was found out that he was the one who also did set up Tim, and Tim was sent to jail for something Terry did. The state lawyer, Stephen, calls Miss Ward and tells her she could not believe what just happened. Miss Ward was told that Tim is free. An employer has been caught who set him up. Miss Ward was so happy about the news and requested the lawyer to let her be the one to deliver this news to Tim that very day. Miss Ward went to see Tim. Then he was informed that he cannot go that very day because the judge has to sign the paperwork, and that will be tomorrow when the judge does the signing. Tim asked Miss Ward if he would be able to pick him up the next day when he gets released from jail. To this, Miss Ward agreed. Then Tim said he will go out and search for his daughter. Miss Ward told him that she will do this with him. She will search for Dior with him. At the storage, Emma saw where Dior had put the money that she got from the selling of the watch, and Emma wanted to steal it. When Emma saw that Dior had slept off, she slowly got her torch and torched Dio's eyes just to make sure Dio is still sleeping. Then she reached under the bed, pulled out the envelope, and slowly got out of the storage. She had left the door open so she can slide out easily. So she slid out of the storage with her bag and left. Only for her to reach to check the money she had taken, she only found a letter from Dio. Dio writing to her telling her, "I'm sorry, this friendship did not work out, but use this money, go home to your parents, and make peace." In the envelope was a $20 for transport. Back at the storage, after Emma left, Dio opened her eyes. She was hearing her go. Then Dio checked her pillow, and all her money was still under the pillow where she had placed it. The next day, Miss Ward went to pick up Tim from the jail. After his release, the two went off to search for Dio. Emma went to look for Dio and found her sitting, wondering where Put could have gone. Emma claimed she wanted to apologize to Dio. Dio told her to go back home, grow up, and stop acting up every time she hears someone tell her something she doesn't like to hear. Emma told Dio that she's acting like a jerk. Emma also told Dio that she knows where her dog is, but she won't tell her, and how she's going to call the police and let them know that Dio is living in some stupid storage. Emma moved on, and Dio continued to search for her dog. Miss Ward, along with Tim, drove to the place where she last saw Dio. As she was waiting and wondering where to look next, she saw Fat, and she ran out. She said that's her dog. Tim didn't know Dio had a dog, so Tim followed. But at the same time, when they came to see the dog, Dio on the other side had also spotted Fat. So Dio shouted, "Fat!" But when she was looking at Fat, she saw her dad. So she ran and hugged her dad, and the three went back home. Later that night, Dio told her dad of how she sold a watch she bought for $1, and she got $2,500. But she got the money and gave the money to her dad. Her dad insisted that she should have the money, but Dio insisted that they need to get a better home because her dad snores. To this they laughed, and Dio encouraged her dad to invite Miss Ward for dinner because she had noticed the way they look at each other. Eventually, they invited Miss Ward at their motel to have dinner with the two of them. At the dinner time, Dio prayed, and the three had dinner.